Welcome back to the 2016-2017 NBA preview. Today we are covering the number 7th ranked team, the Indiana Pacers. My name is Josh, your Enviers, and with me today is my co-host.
How's it going, guys? The king of the fourth quarter. Welcome back to the NBA preview.
So a lot has happened with this Indiana Pacers team. A few years back, Paul George broke his leg against a USA scrimmage, and it looked pretty bad. You know, his leg was snapped.
Very gruesome.
And a lot of people didn't know if he was going to be coming back to the NBA and be as good as he once was. I feel like he came back a little bit too early. He should have probably took a whole entire season off. But he came back, and then in his other knee, he heard something pop. And then this year was his full season, or last year was his full season where he actually played. And he showed that he's the same player, if not a better player than he was before he broke his leg.
Yeah, comeback player of the year, Paul George. He kind of took a step back and re-identified himself. PG-13 now. So, a good step for him, man. It was scary. It was definitely scary watching the game, seeing him go down. Pretty sure it was scary for Indiana Pacers fans, especially since their star player went down doing something he wasn't really getting paid to do. But he's back, and it looks like he's better than ever.
Not only that, unfortunately, they no longer have Frank Vogel as their head coach. Larry Bird decided to fire him and pull up assistant coach Nate McMillan to be their new head coach.
Which is a bit puzzling to me because I think Frank Vogel has been a really solid coach for them. I don't know if Nate McMillan matches up, so I guess only time will tell, but I think Vogel is the better coach there.
This team last season, a lot of people didn't know whether or not Paul George was able to do it, and he did it. He willed this team to the playoffs and tested the Raptors in 7 games and probably could have beat them if Solomon Hill was able to release that 3-ball like 1 second faster. So moving on to the offseason moves for this Indiana Pacers. This Indiana Pacers sure did a lot this offseason. They acquired Jeff Teague, Thaddeus Young, Al Jefferson, and a few other role players, while they lost the entire Hill Mafia family. They had George Hill, Solomon Hill, Jordan Hill, a whole bunch of Hills, and Ian Mahimi, and drafted Georges Niang at number 50.
Yeah, I mean, a very exciting time for Indiana Pacers fans, I'm sure. I do like some of their moves, and I don't like others. I think George Hill overall is a better shooter and a far better defender.
Okay,
far
wow.
better defender.
Wow, okay. I was about to say the same exact thing. I feel like they could have kept George Hill. I mean, the only reason why I see them acquiring Jeff Teague is probably to be a faster offensive up-tempo team.
Yeah.
But then the whole Al Jefferson thing kind of ruins that because this man is not fast, to say the least.
Yeah, Teague is definitely a better scorer and facilitator, but I think George Hill hasn't beat defensively by
defensively
far.
And a better three-point shooter.
Yeah, man, I think he's very underrated because his wingspan is like 6'9".
I wasn't expecting
if I'm not mistaken.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, and so that move, I mean, I guess you lose some and win some with that move alone. Their big move, or the one I was more fascinated with, is getting Thaddeus Young for just the 20th pick in the draft. I thought that was like one of the best moves this offseason. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. Very undersized, can play a small forward, power forward position. So it's going to be interesting to see him and Miles Turner up front. They're also helping the Brooklyn Nets, trying to rebuild, getting that 20th pick.
Right.
So I like Thaddeus Young, very underrated player. I'm glad we could agree on the whole Jeff Teague and George Hill thing. I feel like George Hill would have been perfectly fine with this Indiana Pacers team. I mean, they're both getting the same contract this year. So the only thing Jeff Teague is faster, better slasher. So if that's the way they want to go, then hope it works out. He's a 1-year deal.
I think with their moves, they actually get a little worse defensively. Solomon Hill, also a really good defender. And then Mahimi definitely locked down that paint. I know they have Miles Turner too, but their backup is now Al Jefferson. So defense is not going to be there in that second unit. So defensively, I think they take a step back. But overall, I think the team gets better.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. So moving on to the rotation, this is what their projected starting lineup looks like. Jeff Teague, Monte Ellis, Paul George, Thaddeus Young, and Miles Turner. While their bench looks like Aaron Brooks, Rodney Stuckey, CJ Miles, Lavoy Allen, and Al Jefferson.
Really solid rotation. Paul George has some help now. He doesn't have to go out there and try to score the ball every possession. So I'm excited to see what he does, and I'm also not excited because they're in the same division as my Bulls. So we're going to see them a couple times this year. They're probably going to smash us each time, but good for the Pacers.
Yeah, I really like their starting rotation. Unfortunately, the odd man out of the starting rotation might be Monte Ellis. I feel like the Indiana Pacers might want to move Monte Ellis. Hope the best for Monte. I really like the rotation. Like the starting lineup. It's really good. Hopefully Monte Ellis can pull his weight defensively because he's not the best defender there. But maybe he could probably be guarding the point guards. I don't know. That's going to be a whole situation. I feel like George Hill would have been perfect.
Yeah, that backcourt is not great defensively. They'll have some problems.
George Hill would have been perfect to pick up the slack that Monte Ellis would have had. So,
yeah.
Defensively, Monte and Jeff T looks kind of sketchy, but hopefully it's able to work out with this team. Very talented team.
Yeah, I just think they're hoping that Jeff T gets back to that all-star he was a couple years ago. Last year was definitely a down year overall for him, and I think making that trade, they believe that he can come back to where he was, but I guess we're going to have to just wait and see.
Yeah, they wanted to change things up around Indiana, and they definitely did. This team looks completely different.
Yeah, and the best thing about it, they didn't give up many assets. Of course, they gave up the 20th overall pick, but other than that, they still have their draft picks for the future, so this just seems like a win-win whether or not they end up being contenders or not.
Yeah, it's a good foundation for the future.
Yeah, definitely.
So moving on to the projections of this Indiana Pacers team. This Indiana Pacers team went 45-37 last season. Over under, where do you see this Pacers team being this season?
I'm going over, probably about 49 wins at the most. They did get better, but I still think their defensive holes will come back to bite them eventually. And of course, with this many moves in one offseason, it's going to take a while for them to all gel. So I'm going to go over 49.
All right, I'm going to go over as well. I'm not going 49, though. I'm going 48. I'm going to one down you right here. I feel like 48 is the perfect median because the Boston Celtics had 48 wins. The Charlotte Hornets, the Hawks, the Heat all had 48 wins last season. And I could easily see this team being better than all of those teams were last season. So easily see this team reaching 48 wins if healthy. But I wouldn't be surprised if this Pacers team, if healthy, managed to pull off 50-plus wins because, like I said in the last episode, I feel like these next few episodes, it's kind of interchangeable, the teams, you could slide one above the other, slide one below the other. They might have a few tied records in the Eastern Conference once again this season. So with that said, these are our projections for this Indiana Pacers team. I'm glad we could agree on that whole George Hill thing. Wasn't expecting that, so it's good to see. But let us know in the comment section below, do you agree with the George Hill thing, and do you agree with our rankings of this Indiana Pacers team? Let us know in the comment section below, along with leaving a like on this video if you did enjoy, along with sharing it on any social media as well. It really helps us out, helps the series grow, helps our channels grow. All of our social media links will be in the description below if you want to check that out as well. With that said, hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Be looking out for the next episode tomorrow.
Next episode tomorrow, number 6. Almost in the top 5, is getting closer. I'm super excited to see your guys' opinions on these next teams.